Welcome, sir, K.N. Rao, sir, for this session with Saptarishis Astrology magazine. And we would like to request you to discuss on a very important horoscope that traditionally in India has been followed when we start learning astrology. We are taught with Sri Ram's horoscope. As you know, there are a lot of controversies, yet our understanding of astrology is limited. So we are not able to justify any horoscope properly. Your understanding is far higher. If you could discuss Sri Ram's horoscope with its background of how you got it.
Well, I will start by telling you two things. First is, it will remain a controversy, it was a controversy, it will be a controversy. The reason is, each one will claim what he got to be correct. And when we astrologers are discussing a horoscope like this, no one can claim that he alone has an authentic horoscope, because neither Lord Rama or Lord Krishna appeared before me and said, this is my horoscope. We have what we got from different traditions. I am presenting before you what I got from my own Jyotish Guru, Yogi Bhaskaranand. In some snatches, when I used to go to him, he gave me these horoscopes and gave the logic behind it. And why I accept it is, he is the only astrologer I have met in my life who could look at a horoscope and tell you all about your spiritual life, which no other astrologer I have known. I lived in all parts of India except Goa and Kashmir and Kerala. But I have visited Kerala and Karnataka many times. These four states I have not lived there. Karnataka is very familiar to me. I have gone there many times. Bangalore. Kerala I visited once. Goa and Kashmir I have not visited so far. I have remained in remaining parts of India. I was posted during my service career. Before that I moved with my father also. I interacted with many astrologers, and I know in different traditions they have different horoscopes of Lord Rama and Lord Krishna. I am giving you the one which my Jyotish Guru gave to me. This is Lord Rama, Kark Lagna with moon in it. 4th house exalted Saturn, 6th house Rahu, 7th house exalted Mars, 9th house exalted Venus and Sun, 10th house Mercury, 12th house Ketu. The controversy here will be the placement of Sun. Why? You have to go by the original source. Now this is the shloka from Valmiki. Tato yagye samapte tu ritunam shata samatyayuh ततश्च द्वादशे मासे चैत्रे नवमिके तिथु. Chaitra Mas Navami Tithi. That is the important thing to know. Month of Chaitra and Navami Tithi. Okay, remember Navami, that is important. Nakshatre Aditya Daivatya Swasocha Sansteshu Panchasu. Socha Sansteshu Panchasu. 5 planets are in own and exalted houses. Own and exalted 5. Not saying 5 planets are exalted, not saying 5 planets are own house. 5 planets are own and exalted. Right? Graheshu Karkata Lagne Vakpata Binduna Saha. It is in Karkat Lagna with moon and Jupiter. Prodhyamane Jagannatham Sarvaloka Namaskritam Kausalya Janayada Rama Divya Lakshana Sanyayutam Nakshatra Aditya Magrahet Karkashe, etc. etc. Then which means it is Navami Tithi and moon in the Lagna, Punarvasu Nakshatra. If moon is in Lagna in Punarvasu Nakshatra, moon can be only 3 degrees 20 minutes maximum. Punarvasu's fourth charan, quarter. If you remember that, now you will know where sun should be. Tithi is the distance of 12 degrees from between sun and moon. If it is 3:20 in Karkat Lagna moon, behind you have 30 degrees Mithuna, that will make it 33:20. Now go to Vrishab, it will make it 63:20. Then go to Mesha, it will make it 93:20. To cross Ashtami, moon has to be 96 degrees away from sun. So sun in Mesha also will not be Navami Tithi, it has to be Ashtami only then. Sun has to go behind in Meena, and the distance has to be more than 96 between sun and moon. It can be more than 96 if moon is in Punarvasu Nakshatra in Karkat Rashi. The distance should be more than 96 degrees for Ashtami to be over and Navami to begin. Navami Tithi has to be more than 96 degrees and less than 108 degrees. So the distance between sun and moon has to be more than 96 degrees. It can be 96 degrees only which sun is in Pisces, Meena.
Sir, if I may ask, how is it that you have explained clearly the calculation, why it should, the degrees and all that. But how is it that so many people have been taking sun exalted in the 10th house?
It is because of reverence. More out of reverence than out of any astrological or astronomical logic. Once Valmiki Ramayana says it is Navami Tithi, why can't you calculate the distance between sun and moon and decide whether it is Navami or not? My Jyotish Guru gave this logic. He said no, sun has to be in Meena for it to be Navami Tithi. That is logical.
Earlier you said 5 planets in exalted or own.
Own house. So therefore, Jupiter exalted in Lagna, Saturn exalted in the 4th house, Mars exalted in the 7th house, Venus exalted in the 9th house. 4 planets are exalted. Moon in his own house. 4 plus 1, 5.
But is it that there is a different variation of that shloka because of which
No.
people are taking?
No, this is the same shloka by Valmiki quoted everywhere, but traditionally more out of reverence than out of any astrological or astronomical logic that people are giving sun also as exalted. It is not so. This is the Swa and Uchcha. 2 words Valmiki uses. Swa and Uchcha, 5. So 4 are exalted, 1 is in his own house.
Swa is Swa Kshetra.
Own Kshit, own house. That is number 1. Number 2, sun is the second lord. If Mars is in the 7th house, Mars will be aspecting Sun, the second lord, and also the second house. Remember this point. Many of the people do not know what it means. If you put Sun in the dead here, in the 10th house, he is receiving the aspect of Mars. If you put Sun in Meena, receiving the aspect of Jupiter, how will the end come?
What if it is...
No, I'll come to that when I discuss Lord Krishna's. I leave this question here. Right? How was the end of Lord Krishna? How was the end of Lord Rama? I'll come to that last. Okay? First remember this logic. 2. Jupiter aspecting Sun in the ninth house. That is known as Raj Lakshan Yoga.
Sir, can you repeat, please?
Jupiter aspecting Sun. Raj Lakshan Yoga, that is a royal sign. 3. Venus, fourth lord, in the ninth house, aspected by Jupiter. This is a very important thing to remember. How does Valmiki Ramayana start? Valmiki Ramayana is said to be the Adi Grantha, the first ever book composed in a poetic form in the world. And how does Valmiki Ramayana start? People who see cinema pictures know what is known as flashback technique. Valmiki Ramayana starts with flashback technique. Two boys singing beautifully walking in the streets of Ayodhya, Love and Kush. Rama, who had already left Sita, was on his terrace along with Lakshman. He hears these two boys singing beautifully. He tells Lakshman, bring those boys in. Now remember, when an avatar takes place, the god covers himself with Yog Maya so that he has to act like an ordinary human being. Those boys are brought in. If you read Valmiki Ramayana, they will find it. Love and Kush are sitting there and singing, telling the story of Ramayana. They do not know they are singing it before the father and telling him the story of his life. And the father does not know. They are his sons, they are singing a story which is his own. And beautifully they are singing. When those boys are singing, Ram turns to Lakshman and says, Lakshman, you know, they are not singing in a folksy style. It's pure classical music. The boys are so well trained. It's a beautiful comment Lord Rama makes, and other brothers listen. Okay. And how does the whole narration start? Love and Kush say, there's a big Nagari city named Ayodhya, full of high mansions. Raja Dashrath used to live there. High, majestic mansions. Fourth lord in the ninth house, that is father's house.
Okay.
With sun, mansions royal, aspected by Jupiter. Royal mansions are shown here by aspect of Jupiter on Sun and Venus in the ninth house. And the fathers, not Lord Rama did not build those houses. They are the father's houses, which have come in the Raghukul. From Raghu, Aj and all the tradition they are coming, and Dashrath owns them. They are a huge mansion, that is how the whole thing starts. And the Lord has covered himself with his Yog Maya. He doesn't know his sons are singing, and the sons do not know they are singing it before their father and narrating his own story of his life. That is how it goes on. The sun has to be here astronomically for the royal Tithi of Navami, and factually for those huge royal mansions. In the case of Lord Rama and Lord Krishna, we do not have the degrees of the planets to cast the Chaturthansha and confirm it. We accept it out of our reverence only. We will not debate that. So I cannot cast any Chaturthansha and tell you.
No munch? No munch, sir?
No, nothing. When there are no degrees, how can I cast anything? No degrees can be cast.
But no munch, Lagna at least.
Nothing is mentioned anywhere. So I will not go arbitrarily by what other people have started doing, fixing the date of Rama and Krishna. I will go only by the tradition. And what my Jyotish Guru got is what I am discussing. Number one, sun. Number two, moon in his own house, that's okay with Jupiter. Now go to Mercury. Mercury is the third lord in the 10th house. Third lord in the 10th house will mean siblings born after you will rise high in life. They will do well. It is so in my horoscopes also. Tula Lagna, third lord Jupiter in the 10th house. My 4 people born after me, brothers and sisters, they all have done well in life.
Sir, but actually speaking, in your case and Shriram's case, you have done far well than all your siblings, and so has Shriram, right, sir?
No, it is not so. Not necessarily, I will not compare. But anyway,
No, I'm speaking of the combination. Third Lord in 10th, you
third
said
lord in the 10th is good for
siblings.
siblings. Okay. Ram and Lakshman and Shatrugna, all of them. Okay. Mercury is also the 12th lord. Aspecting the 4th house. In modern times, we say foreign trip.
Correct.
14-year foreign trip he made, Lord Rama. Vanvas. Went to Chitrakoot and went right up to Lanka. That is all foreign trip. So Mercury has to be in this for 2 reasons. Saturn in the 4th house. Now in India, having lived in different parts of the country, I can tell you, in Bengal I have seen astrologers dreading Saturn in the 4th house, whether in the birth horoscope or in transit.
Why, sir? Why?
They say you will have to leave the house and go away. That is how they have that belief. Because Lord Rama had to leave the house and go away. In Maharashtra they dread Saturn in the 5th house.
Achha.
One principle is when Saturn is in a particular house, the 8th house, the 6th house from there suffers because it will be 8th from that house. For example, when Saturn is in the 5th house, it is 8th from the 10th house. So the career upsets. So in Maharashtrian sphere, Saturn in the 5th house most.
Sir, speaking of Maharashtra, if I may interrupt, because I want to extract as much knowledge from you. In the birth horoscope of a child in Maharashtra, there is one astrologer I have spoken to him, Mr. Gaisas. He said, malefic Saturn retrograde in the 5th house or malefics in the 5th house, as soon as the child's birth happens, there is possibility if other factors support that the father's career will go down
Maybe.
immediately after birth.
Yes.
For some period of time.
Yes.
Have you seen that working, sir?
Yes, I have seen that working, not necessarily, but depending upon the dasha.
Always. Yeah.
Saturn in the 5th house or any malefic in the 5th house can be effective only in the right dashas and anta dashas, not statically, dynamically. Dynamic means when the dasha comes. But I have seen Maharashtrians dreading Saturn in the 5th house, Bengali astrologers dreading Saturn in the 4th house.
But what is the logic for Maharashtrians taking Saturn in the 5th house for separation from house?
It is not separation from house so much as an upset to career. Upset to career may mean separation from the house, may not mean separation from the house. So anyway, that is a very broad principle, not always applicable, but a good hint, a snapshot prediction. For snapshot predictions, there are many such rules in astrology all over the world, particularly in India. So Saturn in the 5th is dreaded for career. Saturn in the 4th is dreaded for domestic peace. So Saturn in the 4th, Bengali sphere. Saturn in the 5th, Maharashtrian sphere. That's what I have seen when I discuss with some astrologers. I do not know whether they follow it even now or not, but generally I have seen that. So Saturn in the 4th is okay. Saturn is also the 7th lord in the 4th, aspected by the 12th lord. Saturn here is the 7th lord Sita. Mercury is the 12th lord, aspecting the 7th lord. Sita also goes to the forest along with Lord Rama. There is an interesting story in Adhyatma Ramayana. Very interesting story. When Lord Rama goes to Goddess Sita and tells, look here, following the instruction of father, the kingdom will be given to Bharata and I will be going to forest. You remain here and keep on serving your mother-in-law and others. Sita says, no, that cannot happen. How is it that you will go to the forest and I will not go? And she argues, and among one of the arguments she gives is, when I was a child, an astrologer had seen my this thing and said you will go to forest along with your husband. How can that astrological prediction go wrong?
Fantastic.
It is an Adhyatma Ramayana. So seventh lord in the fourth, aspected by the 12th lord, Sita also going to the forest.
You have seen more than 5 lakh horoscopes minimum, if I presume. Have you seen this combination working in modern day life, 7th Lord? Yeah?
Yes, you can see, you can always see they will marry and go abroad.
Sure.
Many predictions have given to Delhi girls, you will marry and go abroad, they have gone abroad. You will marry and go abroad, or you will be separated from your husband,
Sure.
etc.
Sir, you can see?
Yes.
So it's fantastic, sir. You're using this into modern.
Everything that applies to modern horoscopes, you must apply here also. Same logic once you know the story. And I base it on Valmiki Ramayana. Valmiki Ramayana is the authentic story. Contemporary Valmiki is seeing everything. He is first-hand witness to everything and he narrates it. Other Ramayanas are not contemporary accounts. You can call them hearsay accounts or traditional accounts or distorted accounts even. There are so many Ramayanas. But Valmiki Ramayana is an authentic narration of the life of Lord Rama, contemporary of Lord Rama. He is doing it. Because at the end when Sita had to go to the Valmiki ashram and deliver her 2 children, Lava and Kush, twins. You again know, he was there and those children were trained there. And those children, now when grown up, come singing to Ayodhya. And that is how Valmiki Ramayana starts. Both sons are singing and the father is listening. Mass in the 7th is a Kuja dosha, as we call it. But people do not take exalted mass as Kuja dosha. Anyway, that is the most important thing. Saturn and Jupiter exalted aspecting each other in Kark and Makar is a very, very special combination of highest moral conduct.
Can you please repeat again, sir? Saturn and
Exalted Jupiter in Kark, exalted Mars in Makar, aspecting each other is a combination very few people know for highest moral conduct.
Okay.
We refer to Lord Rama as Maryada Purushottam. In the case of Krishna, we call him Leela Avatar. I remember one saint one day cracked a joke. I liked it. He said, when you see any picture of Lord Rama and Lord Krishna, you will never find a picture of Lord Rama smiling. Always standing solemn, Gambhir. In the case of Krishna, you will always find him smiling with flute in the hand. Some sort of mischief you can see there, Krishna. And Tribhangi Krishna, twisting at three places, Tribhangi. Right? So Lord Rama is Maryada Purushottam. That is well reflected here. Right? It is saying Krishna's horoscope also, but here I am first pointing it out.
Sir,
Okay.
Anil ji had a question regarding Jupiter Mars aspect to each other.
Sir, is this combination in any house?
No, Karka and Makar.
No, sir, any house, not Rashi.
It can be, Lagna can be anything. Makar and Kark, axis of Saturn, Mars and Jupiter,
Jupiter.
is important for moral conduct, provided other planets do not join. Or
So, only Jupiter, Mars, or Saturn also should aspect Jupiter?
like Jupiter, Mars.
Jupiter, Mars.
Okay.
And let me ask a stupid question, sir.
Uh,
If this was exchanged, that means Mars in Karka and Jupiter in
it will not be moral conduct.
then opposite.
I will not say it is opposite. It will then the horoscope will have to be seen and examined what is this combination. Then again, Jupiter is the ninth lord, aspected by Mars and Saturn. Sun in the ninth house. Come back to that. It is not good for the longevity of father.
All these points or only Sun in the ninth?
Sun in the ninth house itself is not good generally. And here ninth lord is also doubly afflicted. So Dasharatha did not live very long.
Immediately after he left, he died.
Right? Therefore, I will accept this. Then, Rahu in the sixth house. Some people give Rahu in the third house.
Correct, sir. Correct.
If you give Rahu in the third house, he will be generally the youngest.
Achha.
Rahu in the third house will make you the younger sibling generally.
Achha.
Lord Rama was the eldest, not youngest.
If I'm permitted to say, sir, some people have an opinion that Rahu in the third can also give twin siblings who are twins.
No, for siblings you'll have to, twins, you'll have to see a different beautiful research produced by R.C. Dadwal, we published in Astrological, our journal, that is, dual dashes come into play for the birth of twins. And Rahu in the third house, in majority of cases, will make them the youngest. My younger brother has Rahu in the third house. My father had Rahu in the third house, he was the youngest in his family. We have produced this research in Astrological magazine. 11th lord in the third lord in the 11th also will not make you the eldest or youngest, it will make you eldest or youngest, not the middle generally. General principle. Exceptions are different, but then I am taking
Broadly speaking.
which will apply to 80% cases. So here Rahu in the third house I will not take. Rahu in the sixth, Kodandaram, having a Dhanush,
Correct. Sagittarius.
Sagittarius.
Rahu, Sagittarius is Kodanda, and always we have the
Kodanda.
photograph of Sri Ram with the bow and arrow.
Yes, bow and arrow. So Kodandaram, Rahu in the sixth house in Dhanu Rashi. Right? Okay. Now, Moon, aspected by Mars and Saturn. Moon aspected by Mars and Saturn. That is a combination for sannyas.
Moon.
Aspected by Saturn and Mars. That is a combination for sannyas. 14 years sannyas he takes and goes away. Man jeeta to jag jeeta, Guru Nanak said. That inner conquest has to be there. In the case of people who have this vairagya detachment, or in the case of sannyasis, you find moon in the Rashi of Saturn aspected by Mars, or moon in the Rashi of Mars aspected by Saturn. For sannyasa, for vairagya. Lord Rama has this vairagya. Mars and Saturn aspecting this. So I explained to you why Sun has to be in the 9th house because of the Tithi, and Mercury has to be in the 10th house. That apart, my Jyotish Guru insisted always, no